March 2020, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights took a major step forward regarding women's right to property in cases of separation, divorce, or annulment of marriage by adopting the General Comment number 6, which is on Article 7D of the Maputo Protocol. This protocol is the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the rights of women in Africa.
This new general comment is fleshing out the regional legal standards applicable to women's equal property rights in and out of marriage.
It is therefore essential in elaborating on women's rights to an equitable sharing of the joint property deriving from marriage, a key underlying factor which continues to systematically place women at a disadvantaged position across the African continent.
So you'd wonder, what are general comments? These are used by human rights treaty bodies to interpret the provisions of relevant international legal instruments with a view to assisting states to fulfill their obligations under such instruments.
The General Comment number 6 on Article 7D of the Protocol is a soft law instrument which aims to enhance the protection of the rights of women in cases of separation, divorce or annulment of marriage, and in particular the woman's right to an equitable sharing of the joint property deriving from the marriage in such circumstance.
It is meant to clarify various legal issues pertaining to women's property rights in marriage and the meaning of equitable sharing as stated in the protocol without definition. This is because, unfortunately, some countries maintain regressive standards when it comes to defining equitable share, such that women are not able to enjoy equal marital property rights in practice. Having legal clarity on these issues and the legal obligations of states helps to establish a continent-wide standard based on human rights principles.
Honestly, the process of getting this draft prepared was very involving. The establishment of General Comment number 6 was a very lengthy process which started off in 2012 with a conversation between the Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Women in Africa at the African Commission on Human and People's Rights and a number of civil society organizations on strengthening women's land and property rights in Africa in relation to the Maputo Protocol.
8 years later, this non-binding instrument stands as a cornerstone for the realization of women's property rights in separation, divorce, and annulment of marriage, providing guidance to states on how to implement its international human rights obligations to promote equal distribution of marital property upon separation, divorce, and annulment of marriage.
The term equitable sharing highlights the equality between men and women in divorce, separation and annulment of marriage. It pushes states to acknowledge women's historical and systemic discrimination and thus the need for substantive equality, which has already been confirmed by several human rights bodies such as the Committee on the Elimination of All Discrimination Against Women and the Human Rights Committee.
This term is based on this understanding of substantive formal equality and is therefore defined as an apportionment of marital property in excess of half of the property.
This distribution of marital property recognizes an equal distribution of both spouses to marital property and the non-monetary contribution of the woman to the household and the family.
Therefore, the General Comment emphasizes the importance of taking into consideration the different ways of women's contribution to the economic well-being of their families and the critical need to ensure that this contribution is fully recognized in cases of separation, divorce, or annulment of marriage.
The General Comments number 6 provides specific guidance to states on these issues and helps to ensure that women enjoy equal rights to marital property, including at times of separation, divorce, or annulment of marriage. These obligations are enlisted on the general comment as follows.
Legislative measures. Legally, states should align and, if need be, modify their domestic legal frameworks with their international obligations. They should also do this with their regional obligations. These legal standards should be clear, accessible, enforceable, and justifiable. Access to justice is very important, and states are required to establish accountability mechanisms, including judicial or quasi-judicial, administrative, traditional, and other processes to enable women access and obtain redress when needed.
Free legal aid should also be provided to those women who have otherwise been unable to seek justice and remedies. States should engage in awareness-raising activities and encourage the transformation of discriminatory practices and customs related to Article 7D of the Maputo Protocol.
States should also undertake measures to develop the capacities of stakeholders to advance substantive equality and understand that women's contributions are part of the property derived from marriage upon divorce or separation.
It's important for state parties to provide adequate financial resources, and this should ensure that allocation of appropriate budgetary resources for the realization of women's equal right to property are actually achieved. Relevant recommendations also go for civil society organizations, and for this, we encourage CSOs on the General Comment number 6 to push for women's rights in their respective countries.
CSOs play a prominent role in the activities of the ACHPR.
Primarily, they draw the attention of the Commission to violations of the African Charter, bringing communications on behalf of individuals, monitor states, and compliance with the Charter.
It helps to increase awareness about the Commission's activities by organizing conferences, seminars, and other activities.
Finally, the General Comment number 6 has become a landmark instrument for ensuring women's equitable rights to marital property in Africa. You can find more information of this General Comment number 6 on the website of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, as well as the website of IGED-Africa. Thank you very much.